sunshine and I'll shit on your parade. Don't get me started on doing Michael Caine. My opinion matters, yours will fall in last place. I'm not shutting up and you'll be learning my name. Fifth in the family, but first in my mind. 1 out of 10, but I'm ranking just fine. We've only got now, there's no afterlife. Look, Mom and Dad, I'm just speaking my mind. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everyone's coming on Kyle tonight. Wait, what? No, nobody's coming on Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking to drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking to drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die.
Oh, hey everybody, we are here live with Season 5, Episode 7 of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up. I am your host, Kyle Mocha.
Hey, man.
Thank you everybody for joining in here in the future, the present, the past. If you're finding a way to listen in the past, I'm really excited. Write us now at 123justinsuckspa.com. It's a website that you just email things to in the real mail. You write down the real, not this week though, because you don't want to flood the mail this week. Let them ballots get in, fuckers. Yeah. All right, but yeah, we are here with Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up, Season 5, Episode 7, as I was saying. And as always, I am joined here by Mr. Justin Oldham-Pato.
Hey, man.
You know what I realized this week?
What?
Like a week or two ago, I realized Justin, Zach still has your name misspelled horribly, in everything. And I pointed it out, and I'm like, dude, like it says like Oldham-Patio, like there's extra I's and stuff. And then I looked at my phone, and I've never had your name spelled right. It was still Oldham-Pato.
God damn.
But it's supposed to be Patio, right?
Patio.
It's like Oldham-Patio, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Still. Nice to meet you. I'm Kyle Moucha.
Hey, the funny thing about that is somebody stopped here for the census.
Oh, yeah.
And Zach totally misspelled my name to that person.
He was like, J,
some random
712 STIN. And then he spelled your last name correct. That's probably what he did there.
That's exactly what
Now, Zach is wrapping up the song as he generally tends to be. We've got a fun one in store for you today. This is a different one.
Yeah.
It is nothing like last week. Last week we had our wonderful Space Lizards versus Jane Fonda, which is just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous song. I feel like I accomplished sounding like Me Without You even more so after having time to not listen to it and then have my brother Keith say, hey, that was really good. I definitely like, like the Me Without You aspect or whatever the hell he said, paraphrasing for my benefit there. Right. And I listened back to it and I was like, yeah, I did pull that off. But this one is totally different. It's a Halloween themed episode, kind of.
Sort of.
This is a Halloween themed song, kind of,
Sort of.
Well, Zach, as I said, will be down at some point, but we do have here with us, joining us, a very, very special guest in studio. So excited that she's here in studio. Yeah. It was supposed to be a virtual interview, but now they are here.
Hell yeah.
We have Miss Jackie Delgado, the host of Our Paths, the podcast. How we doing?
Doing good. Glad to be home.
I know, this is so
nice.
What was the last time you guys were in the area?
Over a year ago.
Yep. Jesus.
That was the night at Floods, correct? I think I drank
Night
beer
at
all over
Floods.
you.
Yeah, I think
I think I spilled beer all over you.
He was saying it when we were buying beer. He goes, I'm pretty sure I covered beer the last time.
That is my life. Anytime I go out with people, somebody has to spill a beer on me.
Oh, of course, you're a target.
Yeah.
You're a target. You just look. You have a very spillable face. You know. I feel like I can spill plenty of beers on your face, your lap, however it's going to work. Speaking of spillable faces, we've got a guy here.
There's a guy
who looks like he could have plenty of other things spilled all over his face. We have Mr. Zachary Storman. Oh, yeah.
Of the Fast Pop.
That was a frothy pop. It got all over your guard and everything. That was
Froth Poppers.
not all over you though, which is different. So
That's my new K-pop group.
Froth Poppers.
Yeah, but we're more like Pennsylvania Dutch K-pop.
Okay, would that be D-pop, Dutch pop, Deutsch pop,
Deutsch Pop.
Deutsch pop.
But is there still 12 of you?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
And they all look like us. It's just fat bearded guys with fucking elephant ears in their hand or something. Just everyone's always eating a strudel or something along those lines. A lot of pretzels. Pretzel necklaces, like we're at a beer fest. That's exactly what we're doing. All right, guys. Now, you might hear in the background a former guest of the show, former guest of the original run of the show, Mr. Nick Dario is here, but he's sitting back seat, so all the attention can go to this fine lady here.
Got me in a cage.
We have him in a cage. He's very badly burnt.
Yes.
We've just been spraying hot water on him for the last hour because he just, he wouldn't stop talking. And I'm like, Nick, the show is called Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up. Yeah. Not Nick Dario is even here. So I'm just going to scald you with hot water till you look like a lobster, a blue lobster, before you boil it. It's a weird situation I'm putting us in. Speaking of weird situations, I got a call from my brother the other day, and he tells me, Keith, he tells me that our brother and sister-in-law posted this video that's about our nephew. They moved to Virginia about a year ago, and he's 12. He's just getting used to his new school, just starting to make new friends, and then COVID happened and everything shut down.
Right.
So they invited his best friend from up here, to go down and surprise him there. So my sister-in-law made this video where it's her holding up a piece of paper that says something, and it keeps going through the story of it all. And they, have nice soft music playing over it. And then he gets up, thinking there's a package at the door he's got to help her with. And he walks over, opens the door, and this amazing, joyous shock comes over his face when he realizes it's his best friend sitting on the other side of the door. Right. And he's like, I don't know, what to do. I'm so confused. I'm so And my brother from behind the camera just goes, just open the door, let him in. And the video ends, right? So Keith calls me. He goes, you see this video? And I went, nope. And I went online and I looked. And at that point, it had 18 million views.
What?
And it is now at...
Million?
It is now at... And I'm going to check it because it updates every 5 seconds.
TikTok?
On Facebook.
Oh,
on Facebook. It is now at 28.9 million views. And every time they do something like this and they post a video and they get hundreds of thousands of hits or something, I'm always like, motherfucker, I'm here every week. Every week!
Children are cute.
And I'm not.
And you're just a baby monster.
Yeah, I'm just a baby monster. Oh my god. But yeah, they did a Babe, I Really Need a Haircut video, which was Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And it got like 30,000 hits and shared all over the place, and their local TV.
Infringement.
But it is slightly, so they probably didn't get a lot. But 30 million hits.
30
that is legit,
crazy.
viral. That is over the top viral. Yeah. Where they got to be making fucking money off Facebook.
Just start inserting just one still of your face every couple seconds.
Yeah. I'm gonna just
subliminal messaging.
Next time they post a video, I'm going to pull it down real quick. I'm just gonna strip down the video, edit myself into it. Keith goes, just start sending them Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up shirts. So that just one of the kids happens to be wearing one in the background. I'm like, yeah, I gotta start just going down and hanging out with my family and just be like, are we doing a video today? We're gonna go down to the shore. We're gonna do a cute little video. But they've got the algorithm down. I don't. Fat, Drunk, and Stupid apparently doesn't sell. We were trying to make it sell, but apparently doesn't sell.
It's a weird market, dude.
I do have to say, before we get to drinking some beer, not to spend too much time on it, but go check out the new Borat movie. Zach, you're not going to ever see it because it's only available on Amazon.
I also could not finish the first one.
Oh, this
I
one's
couldn't even make it through the
the
whole
most
movie. It's
uncomfortable
horrible.
movie. Have you watched it, Jackie?
We did. We saw it with his parents.
I'll just say this. It's basically the same idea. He's coming to America, but he's trying to bring a monkey to Trump, to Mike Pence, to win him over because, Trump's now all buddy-buddy with, huge, terrible people in the world. So Kazakhstan's trying to get on the good side of Trump. So they send him, who's been in, a labor camp for the last 16 years because of the terrible things he did with his first movie.
Right.
They send him and a monkey meets him. Is supposed to meet him in a crate. When he opens the crate, it's his daughter that he didn't know he had, and she's eaten the monkey. And now he decides to turn her into like a debutante and give her to Mike Pence as a gift. So they go to the debutante scene where she's like at that first training and she's wearing all this like ratchet clothing, just disgusting. She looks like a cave woman, and they're talking about impressing men, and she goes, I can open a beer bottle with my small hole, and then squats, shoves a beer bottle up her ass, and opens it. And then the lady's like, we don't do that. If you want men to like you, you do not do that. And all I can think of is, do you think anybody can actually open up a beer bottle with their asshole? Like, is anybody's asshole that?
Well, boys,
We're gonna find out. We are gonna find out. Now, we do have a lot of beer that we are tasting today. I failed to realize that we went with 3 beers.
Jesus.
And they're all high-octane beers.
Yeah,
so Zach's going to have a fun morning tomorrow.
I've been drinking whiskey tonight already.
He's been just slamming back whiskey and then slamming back ginger ale all night long. So we're going to get Zach as drunk as we can. But let's hit it. What are we drinking?
We drink it so you don't have to. Reviewing in the morning from the bathroom. Cheap booze and craft brews. Reviewing in the morning from the bathroom. What are we drinking? What are we drinking? Yeah!
I got a splinter in my sock. At least it's not in your cock. Could be worse. It could be a splinter in your cock. All right. Zach's got a splinter in his sock.
Wood all day.
He was
Having sex
fucking
with
wood.
wood.
All right. So our first beer, we got 3 beers that we're going to be trying here. I feel like we'll just go slowly up in octane.
Okay.
We are going with the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout.
Right.
Now, this is often referred to as the yellow bottle. I have had this before. I have enjoyed this before, but it is really thick. It is a very thick beer. People that live, in the islands, Jamaica, stuff like that, this is the version of Guinness that they get down there.
Oh.
And if you are from the UK and you come to America, you generally, I've heard, drink this because it is closer to the taste of actual like Irish Guinness. But I believe this has to be a higher alcohol content. You got a lighter there, brother? Use your lighter. Open mine up after yours.
You're talking about this beer than the one in Jamaica?
This is the one in Jamaica.
Oh,
but I'm saying the original
probably.
Guinness. I do not know what the
When I was
the
in
ABV
Jamaica,
is on
I
that.
only drank Red Stripe.
All right, now this, when you pour it, it looks like chocolate
Should we
milk.
be pouring
Yeah.
it?
I'm just doing it just to get the color, just to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see kind of in there. Whoop, right, I poured all over my pants and shoe. Get a close up on that. It is. It looks really good on camera until it's spilt all over my foot. That's what I get for wearing
How did
velveteen.
did you just dump it like a normal guy?
I poured it a little. I'm not going too heavy on it. This isn't a nitro, so you don't need to like heavy hand pour it.
Yeah.
So we just got a bunch of head. But I think we should give this a try, and then we're going to give it a ranking because we're doing our 0 to 100. So cheers to everybody. Let's take a little sipperoni. Yep. That is now.
It's way more. It's more bitter
It's worse.
than.
It's bitter. Jackie, do you,
So I am
drink
biased.
Guinness?
Listen, I'm biased. I
Yeah.
drink like maybe 2 types of beer.
Yeah. What are those
That's
2
it.
types?
White Rascal and
Oh, good one.
Yes, and
That is a good one.
That is a great beer, yeah.
White Rascal and like basically sad Corona.
Sad Corona?
Yeah.
Sad Corona
Anything
has
that
its
tastes
place,
like sad Corona, because it's the only other thing I
So
can
you'll drink a
stomach.
land shark if it's around. You'll go with that.
Yeah.
All right. What about a Bud Light Lime? Will you go that route?
I haven't tried Bud Light
No.
Lime.
Now, this
Will you have
is...
the land shark if you're at the buffet?
Oh, if I was at the buffet, I would definitely have some land shark, Jimmy.
Or maybe if it was 5 o'clock.
Somewhere.
All right, the show's canceled.
Yeah, we should just cut it right now. So, Zach, have you ever had this version of Guinness before?
Yes.
Yes. Do you remember liking it, or do you just remember having it
Yeah,
and
I
being
like
whatever?
bitter stuff.
See, I'm not a huge bitter fan all the time, but this has enough of just the frothy, fun Guinness flavor.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that it's what, like 7%, we said?
7.4.
7.4% alcohol.
Yeah.
So you're getting like 2.5 points more than you get with the regular Guinness. It doesn't taste that much more harsh to me than Guinness.
No.
Jackie, one sip and done on this one, right?
Oh, yeah. So,
One sip, 100% and done.
yeah, that's not...
We got the garbage can Nick over here for us.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I loved it. I love.
This is so good.
I drink very dark coffee. And like real dark chocolate that's almost not even sweet anymore.
How often
is
do
my
you drink
favorite.
dark chocolate?
All the time.
Oh, I just melted in my mouth. And yeah, this is very... It's
Does this say
syrupy.
stream disconnected?
Ooh.
What?
You've
It
seen
said
something that
stream
says stream
disconnected.
disconnected.
Where?
I don't see
On
it.
the
Stream
bottom, and then it
disconnected.
disappeared. It said
I don't
attempting to
know.
reconnect.
We're still live, it seems. If you're in the chat listening, tell us if we're still live. But Zach, or Jackie, on a scale of 0 to 100, what would you give this?
I'd probably say a 56.
56. All right, a 56. Looks like we're still live. We're good. Zach, on a scale of 0 to 100, where would you throw this guy?
72.56.
72.5. Fuck you with your math. I'm doing the math, so he's trying to make it more difficult, and I'm including it. Up to the third decimal, I'm including it. You want to throw another one?
562.
562. There we go. I really like this. I could not drink it as much as I could drink regular Guinness, but I'm going to give this a 76. I think this is a good 76.
Yeah.
It is above middle of the road for me. But it's not the greatest 7.5%er in a dark beverage. Right. You're all good. All right. We got a name that I don't know in the chat, so thank you very much for joining in there. All right, our next beer.
E.
Oh, wait.
McElroy? I can't.
I don't know. I can't read.
E. McCoy.
Oh, that's Emily. Oh, I've never seen her name pop up there. All right.
We do know you.
So, whatever. Thank you, though. The second beer that we're going to be drinking here, I straight up only got this because of the name. It is Dogfish Head, which I've always enjoyed Dogfish Head, but it is called Costumes and Karaoke.
Man, have we been there.
It is my favorite combination of things. I love karaoke. I love costumes. This is an imperial cream ale with turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, star anise, oats, cardamom with vanilla beans.
I don't think you're gonna like this on smell. I feel like this is
star
more
anise?
pumpkin.
Is that how you're supposed to pronounce it? I've always said star anise.
I feel like this
But I
is
got a star
pumpkin
anise.
spice.
It's anise.
All right, can I see you a little lighter there, guy? We're gonna pop this open. So it's got the pumpkin spice. You're saying that's where we're getting
that's
the
what that
Halloween
smell
in
is.
there. All right. Well, yeah, all those spices listed in
Well,
there.
yeah, it's got the cinnamon and all.
So this is an 8%er on this guy. It is 8% by volume. It's not too heavy-handed on the scent. All right, I'm gonna get this guy a little sip and see where we are at. Cheers, everybody.
This is really good.
Oh my God,
This is really good.
This is
that
really
almost
good.
tastes like bubble gum in a weird way.
Sort of.
Anybody else getting a bubblegum taste?
Yes.
Like there, it's
Yeah,
the star
yeah, I
anise.
see what you're talking
that's
about.
what that is.
Yeah.
It's the star anise. The star anise tastes like bubblegum. Eat some star anises. They taste like gum. They taste like bubblegum.
Anise is
Is this
black
like
licorice.
black licorice? That's what I thought. Yeah, that is pumpkin spice without pumpkin flavoring
Yeah.
and with bubblegum in there.
Yeah.
And if you had just put that on the bottle, I would never have purchased it. So I can understand why they did it. But that's what it
Pumpkin
tastes like.
bubblegum.
This is delicious.
It is.
This is surprisingly delicious. I like a beer in the 8% range that doesn't taste like 8%. The Guinness, you can taste the alcohol. You can taste that there's more alcohol in it. But the costumes and karaoke, this...
I mean, Dogfish Head
This
is
is
usually
amazing.
known for quality. Their
not a
stuff
fan,
is-
Nick. No.
You got a sipper of it?
It's okay.
It's all right. I am pleasantly surprised with it. Also makes it kind of give like a root beer feel to it as well. Feels like I'm drinking like root beer, eating bubble gum, and sipping on a beer all at once. And if you can combine 3 of my favorite hobbies into one activity, and it's still drinking and getting drunk, I'm there. I am there. I'm gonna start this round off. I'm giving this. Ooh, I give that one a 76 for what this is. I'm giving this an 85. This is getting an 85 for me. This is really fucking good. Wow. Zach, what are you giving this guy? 72. Jackie, 0 to 100.
I'm gonna have to go with an 82. I think
82.
This is another one I can drink. Look
It's
at that.
gonna be high up there. Another one. We got it. We're finding it. Breaking down barriers for people all the time. That's what we do.
85 for me.
85. Fuck yeah. This might have just taken the spot of the best tasting beer. I really enjoy this, and I'm kind of terrified now to move on to our third beer that we're tasting. Be careful. The printing on it is upside down.
Yeah.
So don't try to read it after you've opened it. Not that I am anybody to speak about spilling beer on yourself today.
Is this a Stone?
This is a Stone Enjoy By.
I just want to say, for the record, I don't think I've ever had a Stone that was good.
You don't like Stone?
Unless it's Keystone.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is leavenoStoneUnturned.com. That's their website. Funny. This is their Enjoy By 10/31/20. So this is the Enjoy By series that they put out. They'll put it out for different holidays. So this is their the Halloween edition. And what did I say this one is coming in at? This is a heavy hander. This is like a 9.94, something along those lines.
9.4, yeah.
9.4%.
Smells
geez.
nasty.
Sure does.
Oh, that does not smell good. Usually they are in your face hoppy.
This smells like a
Pine tree on
Yep.
crack.
like a poodle took a shit under a pine tree.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you blended it up and you put it in a
The
can.
poodle?
Yeah, you blend up the poodle.
Smoothies
Maybe you fed the poodle apples before it took a shit under the pine tree.
Yeah, that's a good way to get hints and notes is to eat the shit of an
Artesian
animal after
shit
they.
eating.
Oh, I love foraging for shits.
Corn.
Oh.
This is a rough beer.
That is just a smack you in the face IPA.
Oh
yeah,
gosh,
that's
I
a
can't with
rough
that one.
beer.
It does say IPA, but they put it upside down, so it just looks like a bunch of lines and shit.
Ooh.
That is hoppy for hoppiness' sake. That is, God, I know I always go back to it, but Torpedo is one of the best double IPAs ever, the Sierra Nevada Torpedo, and they're at like the 7.5%, 8.5% range,
True.
and it tastes good. It tastes like a beer that you could sip. This is going to the back, and it's going to be consumed after the Miller Lights and the other Guinness, I think, because that is just.
Oh, I finished the Guinness already.
Oh, the Guinness is got about half left. I am not a fan. For what it is, for being a special occasion beer, I can't really give it high points. But for being a 9% IPA,
Right.
like kind of going off like what was the one like Union Jack or a couple other like big IPAs that are just like smack you in the face with flavor, but they give you alcohol in exchange for it. And I don't really think it's even that good. So I'm gonna say I'm giving this guy I'm gonna give it a 47. This is about a 47 for me. Not really that big. Nick, are you liking this? This is right up your alley. This is right up your
This tastes
alley.
like they just took the Magnum hops and just like threw it and left it in the can. Like I'm just eating.
Yeah, they should have done more to it. I think they probably should have done more to it. All right, what are you thinking on this one, Zach?
Magnum hops.
I don't know how to grade that.
I like IPAs
Yeah.
sometimes.
Is this one that you're enjoying?
I'm both not enjoying it and not enjoying it.
Okay.
So it's
That's
gonna
fair.
get a 50.
That's a fair way to grade it. All right, Jackie, what are you thinking?
Gonna have to go like 33.
33. Fair. It's what you feel. And Mr. Olimpatio.
43.
43.
Low scores around.
Low scores around.
Yeah.
But we had a nice palette of variety of beers.
We
We had a
did.
middle of
It
the
made
road
the
okay.
costumes in karaoke taste better.
It really probably should, and I'm going to take a sip of that right now.
Go ahead.
All right, so before we jump into our first featured song of the day, which is going to be from Saprophyte In Bloom, a Swedish female-fronted death metal band, Justin brought up this this situation that's going on in the world of streaming right now. It's a situation. Justin, you you threw this at me earlier. I had no idea about this was going on in the world. So why don't you tell the little people out there a little bit about the little thing that's going on?
All right. Well, apparently the music industry is going after Jeff Bezos. Nice. Jeff Bezos owns Twitch.
Fuck Jeff Bezos.
And the way they're going about it is taking on streamers that are streaming unlicensed music. Like through Spotify or YouTube or whatever. So
they might not even be paying for the music at all. Like they
More
could
than
be,
like, they're definitely
it could be
not
pirated music,
music.
but they might have a free Spotify account and they're streaming off the free Spotify account, or just going to YouTube videos and like shit like that. So
I've seen streamers charge per minute for videos.
Yeah,
so like $5 a minute per video. So if you want to see a full video, sometimes you're spending $35.
Oh yeah.
Now,
like big streamers doing it.
The big thing that's going on is that they're going after them for using the unlicensed music. Right. But the streamers are now going back at them and saying, listen, nobody's coming here for the music. We're not making money because of the music in any way.
Basically, any exposure is better than no exposure. And it's like, well, no, you're playing music that millions of people are listening to.
Yeah. And especially if you got, what was the name of the guy that you were watching speak on?
Dr. Lupo.
And his point of view is pretty much what I just said. Like, fuck you guys. Like, you're not getting my money. I worked for my money. You didn't contribute anything to it. But then we started talking, and it's like, you look at a movie, you take the music out of a movie. If you don't have the licensed music in the movie loses half of its feel.
Of course.
And so, do you think any streamers would be as entertaining to watch if they didn't have the music?
Probably. It would at that point there would have to be some sort of way that developers would figure out something that they wouldn't put copyright infringements on people playing their games in particular, because because at that point the music is a part of the game, but developers are like, well, no, the music's a separate entity. So like even playing a video game and streaming it to YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, whatever, if you're playing their music, you could still get copyright infringements.
Well, yeah, and that makes sense. And another thing that I said, like, try to go play Tony Hawk and take the music out of it. It's not going to be entertaining. Music definitely. Obviously, we're all biased here because we're humans with ears that like music.
Now, not every stream needs background music, but if you're offering it and you're doing it, then people come for the whole experience.
And no matter what you're doing, if you are making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, people are going to start looking at you and going, hey,
even if you're getting $20 donations while
money.
Somebody's music's playing in the background and you're not even displaying who the artist
at least give
is,
the credit.
The other thing too is I think it depends on the streamer and how they are with their fans, because some people watch streamers because they feel like friends.
Sure.
So if you have that comfortable music in the background that everybody hears all the time on the radio and stuff like that, it does contribute to the popularity.
Of course it does.
And people aren't thinking about that part of it.
Yeah. No, like Lupo was saying that stuff doesn't add to somebody's stream, that you didn't need the music, and if that's the case and if you don't need the music, then don't play the music. It's a very simple thing than to turn around and be like, hey, I'm breaking the law, but it's not fair to me. Do
you think somebody like him, would it hinder his performance and the likability?
Probably not. He's a popular enough streamer.
So
that
he's probably right
matter.
in his mind. He's right, and for his specific situation, he
might
be
music,
right. He might not need music, but do you think he would be brave enough to just be like, "Fuck it, I'm not doing music," or do you think they're gonna fight just to be able to keep using music for free? Fight. Yeah.
I don't really know what's going to happen with Twitch. Basically, the whole deal right now is the RIAA basically told Twitch, like, you're still breaking the rules. Your top streamers are still doing it. There's no, like, you're not doing anything about it. So if that's the case, then we're going to fucking sue the shit out of you.
Well, I think Zach would be happy to see Bezos get the shit suit out of him and for him to lose money. And would it make it better for you for him to get the shit suit out of him, lose all that money on behalf of music? Do you think it's better? Is there any other cause that you would like him to get sued over?
I would like Bezos to just realize that he's a scumbag and do something good for the world with all his money. Yeah. Right. Him getting sued, it doesn't do anything for...
Don't say those words in here. Don't say workers' rights.
Yeah. No, I am totally anti-Amazon.
Yeah. You can go back to our song last year from Christmas, Protest the Santa. It is pretty much about people being forced to work at an Amazon fucking warehouse.
I think the problem with this, and I'm obviously biased because I am a musician who creates music, is that music these days is so disposable that, like, that's how it's thought of. It's like you get paid what, 1/100 of a penny per stream.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an artist,
takes a while for it to.
An artist makes the big people make a lot of money off shows and just being a famous person.
Yeah, you got your
money.
merchandising, you got your actual CD sales and stuff like that.
If this was the 20s, they'd look at us and be like, "Oh, you boys play, huh?" Now it's like every person's like, "Yeah, well, like my 13-year-old has a MacBook, so he made a few albums."
Yeah,
like music is so cheap and disposable these days.
So what Zach is saying is what we've been doing here the last 2 years is very cheap and disposable. It's
but I
feel
feel like
this, time.
Like the streamers,
it's good to know.
The streamers being like, "I'm not going to pay for that," is just more proof that the general consensus in the population is that music is free.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was saying with you earlier. Like, it'd be different if you were trying to stream a movie. Imagine trying
100%.
to stream a movie all the way through.
Yeah.
From a big streamer, they'd get shut down in a fucking second. But music, nobody. It's a very weird thing.
Weird situation.
He brought up two other good things. One was, if Bezos did win in court, would you want a millionaire or billionaire to know that he can change laws?
Yeah.
And second,
don't want that to happen.
he made a comment saying, if you buy a record or a CD, don't have friends come over and listen to it because you're breaking the law.
Yeah, that's
but then immediately said
comment.
after, but if I try and play music to you guys through my Spotify account that I pay for, and it's like, dude, you're talking about a personal use thing that you sign an agreement on.
Yeah, I'm not coming over and paying you money to...
Yeah. There's no cover fee for your house.
Yeah.
But you're also not live streaming.
Wait a minute, there could be.
But you're also not live streaming you hanging out with your friends, listening to music to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people.
Right.
So I think we all kind of land on the side of music is... It's a product. It's a product that somebody has created, and it's usually a more personal product if the music is good to the person that made it. So I can understand why the record industry is going after them. I
have no problem with streamers being able to...
I'm curious what the big musicians really think about this. Like, who's going to be the Metallica in this situation? Who's going to really come? I hope it's Imagine Dragons.
Here's the funny thing.
I really hope Imagine Dragons is the band that just comes down. It's like, no, and then Lars and Imagine Dragons just like team up and go die together somewhere.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine a Metallica Imagine Dragons album?
Imagine Metallica.
Imagine Metallica.
Metallic
Imagine
Dragons.
Metallica was good again.
Metallic Dragons. That would be
now, there are
amazing.
some funny things about that. I don't have a problem with streamers being able to play music. I think that there should be something figured out.
Yeah. Like
whether it's like if you want to stream with Twitch and use music, you pay for this service that you can use this music within.
Basically, go through Clear Channel more or less to get the approval and the allowance to play whatever you want.
The funniest thing is the
bastards too.
Singer or main guitarist in Dragon Force
just kidding.
streams Herman
Lee.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you can use my music. And he was streaming his music and got banned from Twitch from DMCA strikes because he doesn't actually own his music.
His own music.
His
the
own
record
music.
label owns
exactly.
Yeah, and
so they took him straight down.
And we deal with that sometimes. We'll get hit on almost every video because every video or every live stream that we do, we feature a band, and that band owns the rights to their music. So we'll get an alert every single episode. And it's like, if they really wanted to come after us, I have all of the correspondence between us and that band saying that they allowed us to use their music and blah, blah, blah.
So.
And we're not. If we ever do one day, come after us.
No, what? No, what does it cost to do an episode
of our show?
Yeah, $100.
I mean between beer and food and stuff like that. Usually, around there. Yeah. We're low budget. We're low.
Rent.
Yeah, well, if you break all that stuff down, it's probably $100 an episode. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Today more because we got a $54 case of fucking Guinness.
You bought a whole case of it?
You bought a whole case of it.
You know, we're gonna be so drunk.
It's gonna be ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, and by ridiculous I mean good and really cool, we have a single that we're gonna be playing now. As I said earlier, Saprophyte In Bloom is the name of the band. The single that you're gonna be hearing is called The City of Shadows. Saprophyte In Bloom is a female-fronted metal project from Sweden formed in November of 2019 by singer Oksana Blom Hedlund and drummer Dennis Blom Hedlund, assuming they're married or siblings.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's just the Smith of Sweden.
Maybe it is.
Their first
How dare
debut
you.
EP is available on Spotify, Amazon, etc. It's beautiful, but at the same time, brutal music consisting of many contrasts, swinging rhythms, different genres of metal like death, thrash, heavy symphonic, etc. Lyrical crystal vocals. I want to read exactly what they wrote because if English is their second language, this is written beautifully, but also it gets to something that Zach's going to be really stoked about at the bottom. Lyrical crystal vocals by Oksana switches to rasps and brutal growls, while virtuoso guitar playing and groovy but tight drums with out-of-the-box thinking. All the music and lyrics are by Oksana and Dennis and created together. All the guitar and bass parts for the first EP were recorded by guitarist virtuoso Andreas Lindgren. Mixing and mastering on the first EP was done by Staffan Carlson of Sweet Spot Studios, who has also worked on such bands as Arch Enemy, Grand Magus, and Opeth. So these guys are working with the people that have helped
You
put
ever
out
listen to Arch Enemy, Carl?
I've never listened to Arch Enemy. I knew
Arch
the
Enemy
name.
is the most brutal female fronted band of all time.
So I need to listen to them because I'm thoroughly enjoying this. And they're right. This song has levels. It feels kind of like 3 songs in one, and they really build up to it. But it is brutal. It's amazing. You can go check out, again, on Instagram, at Saprophyte_in_bloom. That's SAPROPHYTE, Saprophyte. Again, that's on Instagram. And again, you can find them YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your music. Here is The City of Shadows. Turn it up a lot. There you go. I hope that got in there. That was perfect. All right, so there you have
That's awesome.
From Sweden, Saprophyte In Bloom. Again, find them on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. It's just fun. It's just fucking fun. Her vocals are brutal. I was saying while we were listening, the first time Zach and I put them on, I was like, oh, I wonder who does the heavy vocals. Because there are doubled heavy vocals, it sounds like, from another guy, like, at some point. But I'm just, like, listening, and then we watched the video, like an actual music video, and we're like, oh, no, it's just this chick, and she's just brutal. And you said Oksana sounds like a name of somebody you would call on in an alleyway if you're about to be jumped. 100%. Yeah. And she looks like she could beat everybody in this room up when she's going all like,
that's hot.
But then she's equally as beautiful just when she's singing, and her voice is beautiful, like matched like perfectly. Fucking love them. Go check them out again. A lot more music from them is available. They put out a bunch of stuff here and there. But yeah, I think it's now time that we start talking about our music that we made this week, our Brunch Weekly Original Single, the 7th song in our Americana Super Soul album that is called All Saints. Now, every year around Halloween, we've tended to go more towards like the metal. We were usually in the heavier stuff at this point. Yeah. So we're departing from that with the Americana album. But we still needed to write a song that was in the spirit of the season. And so instead of writing something about Hallows Eve, which we did last year, our song called Halloween.
We also had a song called Halloweener.
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 Yeah. That was the year before. This one is not about Hallows Eve. It's about the next day. It's about All Saints Day. And historically, All Saints Day is something that generally is looked at as coming from the Catholic Church, and it is the day where you basically are honoring everybody that you've lost in the year. A bunch of different cultures celebrate it in different ways, but overall it's about people that you've lost, whether they were personal people or religious figures, somebody that you were just spiritually connected to, and it's about looking at them and respecting and honoring their memories. So we decided to write lyrically a song that was in that vein after we had already started the actual writing of the song.
Right.
So, Zach, what was it that you were pulling from for the structure and the writing of this song? And as always, do you think we got to where you were thinking we would go?
Did we get to where I thought initially? No.
No, never do.
Never do. We get
that
somewhere.
Would be boring.
We get somewhere else, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a journey.
I had an idea yesterday.
When you're there, you're there.
And it was way sillier. And then we got into doing this, and
you started this off on the keys.
It made more sense.
You started working on the keyboard to get the bass of the song.
Well, this started out as a different song.
Oh yeah, you wrote like a couple bars of one song,
and then deleted it,
and then deleted it all, and then turned to the keyboard, and like Rain Man just sat there and just shat out this really cool fucking riff, and then plugged in your acoustic and just went over it and just started doing. Oh, that was the first one, the humming noise and all that. Yeah. But you added the fast paced acoustic guitar, and then just went, there we go, we got it. And from there we just kind of rolled on. Yeah. What was the band that you said you were listening to a lot this week, and you went, oh, this makes sense?
I was listening to the new My Morning Jacket.
Right, yeah.
They're great.
And for Justin on this drumming, I mean, Zach basically threw at you like this one's simple, and kind of it's a sweeter song, even though it's about death. The whole idea of it being about honoring those that have passed. It is a song that has a brightness to it,
right?
Even though it has a very minor feel in the actual tone of the song.
True.
This was right in your wheelhouse. Like Zach turned around at one point and was just like, "We are in your zone. Like this is where you live. This is where you rock and roll."
Yep.
I feel like this is one of the easiest. I don't ever want to belittle what you do, but for you, this seemed like one of the most natural flowing.
I think that through all of these albums, we get there a few times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's challenges, and then it's like, fuck it, we're in somebody's comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know?
And this one, for both you drumming and me, as far as the key, this was one that really just kind of matched up. Vocally, it's kind of back to that stage vaudevillian voice at certain points, and then I do pull from the. You were telling me to smile, go Brian Wilson with it. It had to be happy,
Wilson on the chorus,
it had to be clean, and it's again, kind of a somber song lyrically, but musically, this is really fun. We did a lot of layers on vocals, a lot of whispering, a lot of harmonies.
41 tracks.
41 tracks. Not a record at all for us, but it is up there. So I think without any further delay, we should jump right into our song All Saints.
Well, this is a pretty long song.
Yeah, what did it turn out to be?
6.
Oh, I thought we were at like a 4-minute song on this one. All right. Well, here it is. Our Brunch Weekly Original Single for Season 5, Episode 7. What was it called again? All Saints. There you go. All right. Enjoy. right, and there you have it. It is a hauntingly beautiful song. That is a hauntingly beautiful song we just made there.
I mean, it fitted. I had a rough week.
Yeah.
So that song.
Yeah, I thought about halfway through writing the lyrics. I was just kind of like, yeah, this is you had a rough week. I have lost 2 friends in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a sad, somber last couple of weeks on that. Zach lost his grandfather. He was 96? 94 years old.
Wednesday, Helmet.
And Helmet, I only met Helmet a couple of times, and he didn't say much to me. But everything you've ever told me about the guy seemed to be just fucking. I mean, he fit with the Stormin clan. Is basically the nicest way I could put it. You guys are a bunch of raucous, wild, random motherfuckers.
He was drinking until his last day, and oh man, the day he died we got absolutely we celebrated the only way that
Jägermeister.
Yep.
Yep.
The only way that Opa would want,
Fuck yeah. So in kind of on accident, that is kind of in honor of Opa there. Everybody, this year's been a rough year for everybody. And I feel like, hey, All Saints Day is a day that we could take a little bit more seriously this year because there's been a lot of loss in a lot of different ways. Sure. But yeah, I think it's such a contrast to what we did last week that listening to the album when we're done straight through and going from Space Lizards versus Jane Fonda to All Saints is going to be the hardest transition.
Yeah,
but I think it's good.
To the first few songs, dude.
Oh, dude. Well, Jane Fonda is going to stick out as she should. As she should. And speaking of she's that should stick out, we are now joined by our guest. I mean, she's been here the whole time, but now we are turning our focus to our guest, Jackie Delgado, the host of the hit podcast. And I say that you have a hit podcast, unlike this one, Our Paths, the podcast. So well, thank you again so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
How much, because I have an ego, how much did you decide to come back here specifically this week because of this, and how much of it was you went, oh shit, we could do the show live then. That's cool. The second one. It's the second one.
It kind of was. So we actually, well, to be fair, we made this trip. To be fair, we did make this trip very, very last minute. We were originally going to come down in December, and then looking at everything and all the stuff going on at my job, we decided, listen, it'll probably be too cold for me anyway. Yeah. So let's go for Halloween, because we were also planning on going to Salem.
Ooh.
But because that's what we used to do when we lived here, and it's
Salem's a fun time.
Salem's great.
It's a great time.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. But with all this stuff going on with COVID, everything's closed. So we were like, let's go home.
You would have been the 5th couple I know that's gone to Salem this month from our area specifically. People are still going up there, and I don't know what they're doing because, again, I feel like everything is
just
closed.
Getting the fuck away from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, just walking around. They're actually going and seeing the free sights, the things that you can just go and look
at. The cool
stuff.
Just the shit you should be seeing.
Samantha statue and shit like that, I thoroughly love Salem. There's this great little like a boutique pizzeria, and they've got
I love Salem for the pizza.
They have you're gonna love it for this though. They have the life-size version of Picard full Borg. They've got what I always forget his name when I go to say his name, but Picard is a Borg. What's his name?
Locutus.
So they have a whole Locutus like right between the bathrooms. You go to the bathrooms and they've got a life-size Picard with the implants and everything just standing there. That enough is worth going to Salem.
Fasano just gave me a CBS password.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to finally watch Picard.
You're going to finally watch
Isn't
Picard.
there the new season of Star Trek?
Discovery.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of that. So you give me Fasano's password so I can jump up on that as well. But
thanks, Fasano.
Thanks, Fasano.
You don't listen.
Don't worry, we'll give it out to all viewers.
Everybody. You can find it by emailing 123JustinSucksPA with an actual letter. Now, Jackie, you started this podcast last month, basically, right? Like September?
Yeah, September 5th it launched. So technically the first episode was released at the end of August because I was just getting my Simplecast figured out.
Yeah.
Making sure I was everywhere.
Right.
But it was all like a lot of things I do, very last minute.
Yeah.
I came up with the idea that it's actually started from TikTok. I'm sad to say, but
hey, inspiration can come from anywhere.
It's true. So the thing is that with a lot of the witch community, there is gatekeeping, and that's always been a thing, but it's really prevalent on Witch Talk because I've noticed that the demographic of practitioners is either like young teenagers who just started like 2 weeks ago, or practitioners that have grown up in a coven or have been doing it for 40 years.
Wow.
There is like no in between.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of arguing that way, but I've also seen it in some of my other witch groups that I've been a part of for a couple of years.
So before we go too far down that path, why don't you tell everybody about what our path is all about?
So,
where did the show come from? What was the mental birthing of the show, and why is it such a hit? Jesus Christ.
So honestly, the show came from my own curiosity. I am a solitary witch, mostly because I'm super socially awkward, so I don't like to talk to people. But a lot of the stuff that you research online, and there's so many books on witchcraft, it's hard to pinpoint accurate information, if you will. And I found that the best way to learn is through other practitioners.
Okay.
But there isn't anything that's easily accessible like that. Like, I couldn't just go online.
There's not a
find...
witch book.
It's not like a,
like a Facebook. You should get on that. Start programming now.
Well, like I can't just type in like hoodoo practitioner and hope that I come up with somebody legit.
Call it witch space.
Witch space.
Witch space. Better name.
So
spellbook. Never mind. Spellbook. Okay.
I noticed a lot of people, specifically on Witch Talk, they were teaching people, like showing them how they do their spells or just the different things that they've learned, and then again that sparks the gatekeeping and that's not how you do it. So for me, it was just, you know what? Let me do some research on some of these people and let me just learn. Like what it is that everybody does, because you can follow the same path as somebody else and practice completely differently.
Okay.
And that's the really cool thing about this path, and it's why a lot of us are drawn to it, because there are no rules. The rules are what you set. It's whatever you believe in, then that's right.
Yeah, there's no overarching church.
Yeah, there's no
deity, single deity that you are looking to. There's no one book that you are going to for the answers, which is something that kind of, intrigues me in that way, because there are so many different views and so many different approaches to something that you would think is an ancient practice would have a lot more solidity in like how you do things. Because if you look at most normal religions, quote unquote normal religions and practices that people follow, it's kind of by the book. It's very, very, here are our 10 rules. Don't break those 10 rules. Or this is how you improve to a better spot in your next life. You follow this set path. Like, here is the path. Take this path and don't wander from the path.
Yep.
And within witchcraft, and from my, because I have a very, very slim knowledge. I lived with a bunch of hippies. A lot of them practiced different versions of things. There was always like runes being talked about and crystals and different rocks, and I still have one in my room just because it was given to me, so it just sits there and it's not leaving, and anywhere I move it goes with me. It's just this weird geode, and it's just there, and I don't touch it ever. I dust it once in a while, and that's about it. But the one thing that always shocked me was that like everybody does have their own way of practicing within it, and you do, as you're saying, like the gatekeeper side of things, people that are just like, you're fucking it up, like you're changing things, you're modifying it in ways that we don't like. For you personally, before we get to the actual show, when did you get into, do you consider it just Wicca? Do you just like refer to it as Wicca, Wiccan? Like, what is the overarching word that you would use?
So Wicca is a specific religion that can technically fall under the pagan umbrella. Okay. But not every witch is Wiccan, because that is a religion.
Real quick, pagan umbrella, band name, go.
So Wicca is a practicing religion, so they do have a book. Okay. They have the Wiccan Rite, and they believe in the threefold law, which is essentially anything that you send out comes back to you threefold. Okay. And, I
can get behind that.
Yeah, do harm to none, so they don't curse, they don't hex, they don't do anything like that, and they worship...
Curse as in actual put a curse.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I'll put a spell on you, not fuck you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. I mean, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, all right. Because they are curse words.
So yeah, that's the thing with...
Sorry, you said it now, I'm fucking...
that a lot of people, and that was another reason why I started it, because when you start looking into witchcraft, that's what you see a lot of. You see a lot of Wicca, and there's nothing wrong with Wicca.
Yeah.
You know, I love Wiccans. I love the idea of Wicca. I just don't personally believe in it. And there's so much outside of that. You know, there's Egyptian magic. There's root work, which is based off of your ancestral stuff. So if you come from, Native Americans, that is the type of root work. Hispanic, being Puerto Rican, we have work that we do that's based in our ancestry and that has been passed down the line. So the thing with witchcraft is, yes, at one point everybody did have their own rules, which is why there's gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Right? So one group way back when is like, this is how you read tarot. You have to do it this way and you have to do it this way. And another group at the same time had their own ways of doing it.
Right.
But as we've gone through the years, people are cross-referencing information. So now tarot is a really big one that a lot of people argue with. Some people believe that you can't buy your first deck. It has to be gifted to you. That's how I was taught.
Oh.
But other people...
I would subscribe to, like, just knowing nothing about it. I would be like, yeah, fuck you going to Spencer's and buying a fucking, like, Jackass edition tarot card set or whatever you're going to buy.
Kyle was begging, like, hey, Keith, go in there and buy
Yeah. Keith, can you go
set
buy
and
this
gift
for
it
me?
to me?
Can you give it to me?
Yeah.
And then later down the line, I'll give you $25.
Hey man, I was given 2 sets of tarot cards.
Really?
I think they're still in this house.
Where's
They're definitely
the
still
one
in this
from? What's the one from
Either
Mike?
behind
Who
her.
gave us the first set? In the cloth.
Is it a special edition of any weirdness, or is it just
It wasn't
traditional?
Ariella. I don't remember.
Somebody gave me the first set, which was like wrapped in cloth and cool as hell.
Oh.
And then Shane gave me the second set, which is from his. He's a golden. Is it golden or mythic? I'm so sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Gold Mythic Dawn. No,
The Golden Dawn.
The Golden Dawn.
The Golden Dawn,
The
yeah.
Mythic Dawn is
thing.
from Skyrim. Sorry. Yeah, no,
I was going to
he's-
give you Red Dawn. That was about it.
Order of the Golden Dawn.
Yeah, Hermetic
Yeah.
Order of the Golden
So
Dawn.
that my best friend is super duper deep in that, like to the point where like he tells me, I'm just like, okay, buddy. I was like, are you happy? He's like, yes. I was like, are they hurting you? He's like, no, dude. Like it's awesome. I was like, okay,
We're good,
man.
then.
Like
We're good.
I'm not
Okay.
signing up, but if it's working for you and you're happy,
Who are you
and healthy,
to fight him
but
on
he
it?
gave me the set or tarot whatever, the set from their the images that they use on their
Right.
deck.
All right.
We wrote a couple songs with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
me
did.
and Justin have like just picking a card at random and then looking up what it's supposed to mean and trying to write a song.
That would be
Something
a
what
cool
that
thing to
means,
approach
yeah.
down the line too. I wouldn't mind jumping in on that.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
so-
I have both of my decks now, so.
Fuck yeah. I did think at some point, I was just like, I don't know if I said it to Justin or Zach, but I was like, maybe we get her to read tarot cards. And I'm like, is that like going to somebody who's just like, oh, I'm an illusionist? You're like, hey, can you do some
trick.
card tricks for
Yeah.
us?
Let me
You're
see
like,
some.
no. Like
some
I
of that
make
magic.
buildings
yeah.
disappear.
I'm an illusionist. If you got a pizza, I'll make it disappear.
It's funny because
Instantaneous.
that's the experience that a lot of witches have like once they come out of the broom closet, if you will. All
I
their
love
friends,
that phrase. I was gonna get to that.
Yep.
I love the broom closet phrase.
Yep, all of their friends and family are like, "Hey, so can you read my cards
Yeah.
or something?" Like my
Yeah.
dad, he called me a couple months ago because he was having a rough spot with work, and he was just like, it just made me feel better if you could like maybe read my cards or something.
Well, jumping off on that then, what age were you when you got into this, and were you raised religious in any way, and was there a transition, and how was it received?
So my upbringing, yes and no. My family is very spiritual.
Yeah.
But they're also, I don't want to say very Catholic, but Catholic enough.
Are you 100% Puerto Rican?
Yes,
Okay,
I am 100%
so
Puerto
I would
Rican.
assume if you said I'm Puerto Rican, I go, you're either Catholic or
Roman
your
Catholic.
family got saved in the last 50 years and now you're all about Jeebus.
So I actually went to a Catholic school. That was the first school I went to.
Okay.
For elementary school. And when we moved to Pennsylvania, my mom tried to get us to go to church every Sunday, and it was just such a pain in the ass. She was like, whatever, we'll pray at home.
Yeah.
So my mom was the one that was kind of against it, but my grandmother practiced a lot of things from Santeria, which is, Latin-based root kind of work. And it uses the saints basically in place of their old gods. So they worship Catholic Christian saints in place of their gods.
So it's like the idea of like when Christianity took over the pagan religions, and they were like, okay, we can still have Christmas, and we can still have your log burning or whatever you guys are doing. Just bring the tree inside. We're cold. Like that type of deal. Like there were a couple of like acceptances, and they were just like, all right. That guy can stick around. That guy, none of that. None of that. You're going to hell. You're going to hell.
Like, what if we call him Saint?
Yes, Saint Nicholas.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but again, my knowledge of it
and
is
they're like,
very...
no, Papa Gijo. And they're like, whatever.
My knowledge is of
Tim
that
Allen,
kind of work
Sam
is
Close.
very light. Specifically because it's quote closed practice.
Yeah.
And by the time I was around, my grandmother wasn't really practicing as heavily.
It's an underrated joke of
By Tim Allen, Papa Gijo.
No, we did that in this song.
Yeah, we've done it before.
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas, I say Popo Gijo at least, and then we realized I said it wrong. It's not pronounced Popo Gijo, and I think he pronounced it wrong either. Yeah. Also, anyway.
So there's a lot of things that now that I'm older and I'm in the practice, I look back at my grandmother doing it, and I'm like, shit, that's what that was.
Right.
But my mom, again, being a little fearful, she kind of pulled away from it. So
Yeah.
I've always been in the craft. I've always done spell work without realizing that that's what I was doing.
Okay.
I wasn't consciously doing it until after I graduated high school. And I started to really kind of look into it. I was taught that you're supposed to buy your first deck of cards, so I didn't really dabble with tarot until much later in my journey. Nick actually bought me my first deck.
Okay.
And I
Very
still
cool.
have her. She's wonderful. She makes people cry because of how accurate she is.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, she's
Hershey?
Her.
Hershey.
Hershey.
Yes.
Is it a bunch
Wait.
of like Reese's peanut butter cups on
Yeah,
every
actually
card?
it is.
Yeah.
It's made of chocolate.
It's
so.
made. Oh, and it's still around. You guys aren't fat enough. That show would have been gone day one. I was gonna say day two.
Day
It would have
one.
been gone day
72 cards.
one. So
74, I don't remember.
so you
I
get
pulled
into
the Joker, but I ate it.
What's that mean again?
I meant I was hungry.
You're like, Mercury's in retrograde, coming out of my ass about now because I ate it 3 hours ago. And I got a fast track. So when you pretty much grew up in this. Your grandmother, you said, practiced
Low key with me growing up. Yeah.
But was she? So she kind of was still like Catholic.
She's
but
Catholic.
Just,
Yeah.
okay.
She's
Did she
Catholic,
ever tell
but-
you anything or teach you anything?
No, actually, that's something that I'm doing recently. My grandma actually came up because we were visiting from South Carolina.
Oh, nice.
So my mom and I are going to sit down with her either today or tomorrow, and I'm going to try and go through some
That's
of my family
cool.
history with her.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and like psychically, I guess my family is pretty gifted. Like my mom can see spirits, and my father, his mother actually was prophetic. She could see her children before they were born.
Oh shit.
So whenever she was pregnant,
Yeah.
she would tell stories about what they would do at ages like 2 to 5. And then once that child was born and they hit those ages, they would do it exactly the way that she
Now,
described
in
it.
the Puerto Rican culture, because in an American culture, your children are probably taken away from you if you're talking about your children while they're in utero. Was it more open-minded in that culture, or was it still Catholics looked at it kind of going, what the hell's going on over here? Like, do we need to be worried about this one?
So I'll be honest with you, even the most Catholic or Christian Latinos that I've met
Yeah.
still have some of that, and I think it just comes from the way that we grow up.
It's embedded in the culture.
Embedded
Right.
in the culture, right? Exactly, and it comes up usually through superstitions.
Okay.
Right, so it's not actively witchcraft or anything like that, but
It's like
superstitions
hold your
that have
breath
been-
going by that graveyard type
Yep,
of deal. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Sure.
I've been in a car with a Puerto Rican before. I know the deal. I know the
There you
deal.
Do they hold their breath
Yeah.
when they go by
Yeah, no, it was probably Jackie.
Because every time I drive by a Catholic church with Fasano,
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
we're just
My
driving
grandfather
through the
used to do that.
countryside at work, and we
See-
drive by some fucking
My
church.
grandfather
and it's
used
just
to
like,
do that. That
What
and
were you
anytime he
doing?
went past graveyards, churches and graveyards.
I think our family was just so there were 10 of us shoved in the back of a van, and we were just so bored driving wherever we were going that if we saw something, we would just make our own rituals of like things to do. So somebody at some point went, hold your breath, because they heard that. But then certain littler, smaller ones that's like if you're going over a bridge, lift up your feet.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I don't get what any of this means. But
I'm driving. My foot's
you're
on
like,
the
I'm
gas
stalled
pedal.
out on the bridge right now.
Over a bridge.
I can't go forward and I can't go back.
Can you guys give me a pushback here? What's going on?
I can't put my feet down.
I can't put my feet down. We're on a bridge. I thought I had cruise control going. Apparently it doesn't work under 15 miles an hour. We're kind of fucked right now. If I can get a nudge, can you get out and help? I can't put my feet down.
Can't put my feet down.
Can't put my feet down. So
we're next to a church. She's just like,
yeah.
You gotta go forward. Drive. I can't stop doing this.
Soon I'm gonna have to go in and like touch that water or something.
Oh my god.
So within this realm, there are obviously, as we've been saying, many different sects within it. I know you had a rune reader
yes.
on, and that's more from, I don't know if it's not Slavic, but Nordic.
Yeah, so he's from Norway.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
with those people, do you see culturally a lot of like similarities when you get down to like the bare like the nuts and bolts of it all? Do you go like, oh, like you've got this and your twist on it and your Nordic approach to it, but it's pretty much what I'm doing down here. I just have my Latin flair on it. Is there a different, like, do you see similarities a lot?
Yes, across multiple different types of craft, there are similarities.
Okay.
Unless it is a old practice like hoodoo, voodoo, native practices, things like that, and you will even see similarities between those practices, but not necessarily the Eurocentric practices.
Okay.
Those fall within witchcraft, like voodoo. Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah,
is that
yeah,
the
that's good.
overarching term to call it? Is it all under witchcraft, magic, the
some
occult?
people
Like, what do you
say? The craft,
or
or magic, or witchcraft. I mean, it's again, because there's no rules. It really just depends how you define yourself
gotcha.
or your practice.
Nice.
So again, being a solitary witch and just kind of learning everything on my own, because my grandma, she's very old. She only speaks Spanish. So anything that I need to learn through her, I have to use my mom as a translator.
Fun.
So it's just kind of been me trying to figure it out and what works and what makes sense to me. And that's the other thing about magic too, is like, I can't tell you what works for you, because an incantation or something that I believe in might not work if you do it because you don't believe in it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you come up with something that you wholeheartedly believe in, you'll start to see changes, and then that's kind of how you find your own way.
Now, do you think that approach, like the finding something that you believe wholeheartedly? Because I grew up in, and I think the three of us we've discussed on the show before, all grew up with some form of like Christianity, more the born again Christian side of things, not so much Catholic. So I didn't get as much as the superstitions, because it was more, the progressive Christians.
Yeah, I was Lutheran.
Yeah, Lutheran, Baptist, what church did you? Protestant of some sort. Yeah. So we don't really, we tried to burn those people and get rid of them as much as we possibly could in the past, and make sure that they didn't come back, so we didn't have to relearn any of that stuff. We can just stick to our book and have our one book that gives us all the answers. It's the way, the truth, and the light, people. You're all fucking up. Now,
thanks to Steve Gutenberg.
I do have
Steve
a question.
Gutenberg and his Bible.
Do you have to be pagan to study demonic stuff?
So that's the thing. Not every witch identifies as pagan.
Right. So so
So-
if you're into demonology or whatever it would be,
You're not necessarily a witch.
okay.
Well, I mean, you could be if you identify that way, or you could be pagan if you identify that way. Because you have to remember
Okay.
that.
Okay. So it's whatever you believe in at that point.
Well, yeah, and there's
Okay.
a lot of people who practice witchcraft that don't worship or believe in deities or gods or anything
Right.
like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They just they understand the way to manipulate the energy around them.
Yeah.
And they just work their craft. They
Sure.
don't.
And what I was getting to before I just started making dumb jokes, if I know a person that is religious of any sect of Christianity, Buddhism, whatever they may subscribe to, if they wholeheartedly believe the words that they are hearing, the words that they are reading, if they are reading, say it, just going with Christian because that's what I know, if they are daily in the book, if they are in the Bible daily, if they are working on themselves as a human based on these sets of rules, if they make it work because of their personal dedication to it, I fully respect their decision. Most of my family is like that. That's why I will shit talk religion left and right, but it's because I haven't found the one that I subscribe to and the one that I connect with. But there are people in every religion, and that's the reason that all these are so successful. It's all about what you put in. And if you are spending every day, like we used to do a thing that was called the Daily Bread. It was basically like you would die without your bread every day, without sustenance every day. So there are these books, like little devotional books you get like in the Christian world, where it's like, read this passage today. It's about this, and focus on that, reflect on that, and write on that. And I always saw it as like a chore because I was not wholeheartedly invested in it at all. But somebody that is, that little devotional there gets them set and straight right for the day. And I look at it the exact same way I look at somebody who just does yoga and that's their form of meditation.
Yeah, I was going to say that's meditation.
It's just meditation.
Sure. Yeah.
It is putting all of your focus wholeheartedly, everything about your soul and your being, into one idea, and having no shame about it, having just like it being a strong positive force within you. Do you
That's
find
how
that
I view more of faith than anything?
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
it's faith,
like realistically.
Well, there's a difference between belief and faith, and we actually talked about that with Jeff, that witchy dude. I believe he was episode 9, so not the last one that came out, the one before. And
his name is that witchy dude.
That
right?
witchy dude.
Yeah,
his name is Jeff. Really cool guy. He told me about something that he heard. And Jeff, forgive me because I'm probably going to butcher it because I don't remember. But essentially, it was the difference between.
Listening.
He might be. The difference between faith and belief is if you had faith that a guy was going to ride a unicycle or a bicycle on a tightrope across the Grand Canyon, you would bet everything, right? You would bet the shirt off your back. But if you believed that he could do it, you would be sitting on his handlebars.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like faith is.
I hope it happens. Yeah, I hope it happens.
Yeah. It's
belief is action.
I am 99% sure you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And belief is like, let's do it.
No doubt about it.
Fair
And if it goes wrong, it was meant to go wrong type of approach to things.
There are no coincidences, or at least that's how I feel.
I see. I can dig that. I can jive with that. Now, for you in the show specifically, who are the type of people that you are approaching? Like what? I mean, you've had how many episodes you have to? Like 12?
Episode 10 just released.
10.
So 11's coming out this weekend.
So you've had a guest on every episode. Every episode you're going to have a guest. Are you looking just within the witchcraft world? Are you planning on looking outside the spirituality of witchcraft and looking at other people and examining that? And like, what is the game plan?
So I was playing around with the idea of getting some philosophy people on. Just because, even if you don't practice the craft, there are some aspects of the craft that can be used in spirituality, such as the meditation, right? It's not necessarily something that's specific to witchcraft, but it is really important for witchcraft, or at least most people believe that it is. So I have been thinking about going into more spirituality and philosophy-based stuff, just because it's also very interesting.
Yeah.
But as far as right now, I'm just looking at different people who post enough content that I can get an idea of what kind of practitioner they are. Because like I said, you do have to be careful. There's a lot of people who say that they know a lot, and then when you actually look at their content and the things that they're teaching, you're like, I don't know about
They've watched The Craft. And
Yeah, so it's a little bit of that, but I don't pinpoint specific types of practitioners. I've had people who have only been practicing for a year or two on the show. I've had people who've been practicing for 20, 30, 40 years on the show. So I don't really base it off of that. It's just, like I said, if it's a path that I haven't heard of yet or I don't know too much about, and I see that they have good content that I can back up with my own research, then I'll invite them on the show. Or if they're specialized in something specific, like episode 10, Christy, she's fantastic, first of all, but she is a thrifty witch. Like, that's her thing. She gets all of her witchcraft items secondhand, or she makes them herself.
Oh,
which is really cool.
I like that. Yeah.
And what
anything DIY is just more impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and she considers herself to be a hedge witch, which essentially is a green witch that practices solitary.
I consider myself to be a hedgehog.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I'm fat and I hide in the bushes all the time.
And when you get scared, you just roll up into a ball.
I roll up into a ball.
And then yell at Meg.
Oh, jeez.
What?
But then we
Meg
talked
has a
about...
It's still alive, right? Okay, I thought
Well,
it
they
was
don't. The hedgehog is not alive.
It's not alive. I was saying, I didn't think it was
The
alive.
hedgehog is dead.
It's dead.
but then we talked about how interesting that could be
Sorry.
because...
Meg doesn't listen.
Remember that hedgehog used to just come so much all over the couches?
There's a lot of cum coming out of
Hedgehog
tiny
semen.
everywhere.
Like, oh, what is this? Like,
On that couch over
"Oh."
there, actually.
No, not that. No, the
Yeah.
gray one.
The
The
gray
Oh,
one.
the gray
yeah.
one.
gray
Okay.
one. I didn't get
Talking
that.
about you, right?
Yeah, I'm the hedgehog. I would just come
No,
everywhere.
no, Meg, our buddy Steve, his lady Meg had a hedgehog. Steve Warner.
Yeah, Warner. Yeah, Meg. Yeah. Steve Warner of the Warner Brothers fame. Yes. Yeah.
But that man,
has
that
a
hedgehog
brother.
would hump the couch and just like spew like a load that a grown ass man would be proud of. Be like, damn, that came from you, boy. You're a little man.
He's a little man.
That must be a third of your body weight. Shit.
Oh, Jesus. So hedge.
Anyway,
Hedgewitch, yeah. So
to pee.
we were essentially just talking about how cool it would be to use some of the energy from the secondhand items that she gets in her practice. And she had told me that she didn't really think about that. She just cleanses everything to be safe, which is always good.
Yeah.
You know, because you never know where shit has been. But
Right.
Is
again,
cleansing always with sage or Palo Santo, like that style approach? Because
so white
that was
sage,
my experience with
white
the
sage
hippie
and
world.
Palo Santo is actually they're from closed practices, so you
Oh,
shouldn't
okay.
use those. You can
Okay.
cleanse with a lot of stuff. You can cleanse with sound. Some people say
See, I
you
don't
can
mind the
cleanse with
smell
water.
of sage and Palo Santo, but it does just bring me back to a specific time and place when it happens. And I'm just like,
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like it brings things up more than it lets things go to me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can cleanse with a lot of stuff. Some people will cleanse with dried pine,
Okay.
like
Should
pine
explain
leaves and
what
stuff.
Close practices.
Yeah, so a closed practice is essentially a practice that is specific to a type of culture, and
Okay.
that you should not practice unless you are invited or you go through the proper
Is that more a
initiation.
church thing?
It's more of a respect thing.
No. I'm saying the sage part
Oh,
of
the
it.
sage. So white sage is indigenous cultures use a lot of white sage, and it is a oh gosh, what is that called? It's on the brink of going extinct.
Endangered?
Endangered. That's the
Okay.
word. Yes, it is an endangered plant. So a lot of
Really?
people-
Right, okay.
Because
I mean,
what's
we're
happening?
just burning through it, so yeah, it
Well,
makes,
yeah,
makes some
and
sense.
think about it. Like, witchcraft has become very mainstream now.
Yep.
Like, you can go into almost any major shop and find a
True.
witchcraft kit,
Yep.
and 98% of them have white sage in it.
Makes
So,
sense.
you know, it's part of the respect for the culture.
Right.
It's
Makes
also
sense.
some people say that if you don't go into certain practices the right way, then the spirits of that practice will reflect that.
Gotcha.
So you won't necessarily get the results you're hoping
So
for.
so basically, don't cherry pick from things that you just like or things through pop
From
culture
movies.
that you like because you could be opening things up.
Yes and no. So
Okay.
do your research before you cherry pick.
Gotcha.
Because being an eclectic witch, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I technically would be considered an eclectic witch. I like to define myself as a cottage witch because a lot of the magic that I do focuses around the home. It's while I'm cleaning, it's while I'm cooking, that kind of stuff. But eclectic witches, that's exactly what they do. They look at different practices and they say, oh, well, this makes sense to me, but I don't really like the way they do this, but this makes sense to me. And I'm going to try and put it together in my own way. And if it works, great. And if not, then I'll do some more tweaking.
Gotcha.
It's just when you're pulling from closed practices, you want to make sure you're respectful. You want to make sure that it's something that you're going through the right channels to be able to do. Or else it could backfire on you, or you're just kind of being a dick.
Is there anything within witchcraft that scares you? Like something that you're like, fuck that, I'm not going anywhere near that?
Yes, but I am trying
not-
to get over that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like I said, there's a lot of psychic energy in my family. My dad has premonitions. Like, I can't tell you how many times we'd be driving somewhere around here, and you guys know that all the roads lead to the same place.
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
we'd take a route the same exact way every single day, and then one day he'd just be like, we can't go down this way. And then we get home, we find out there was a car accident, or the road washed out, or something.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also, apparently, according to my parents, have been able to speak to spirits. When I was younger, I was actually talking to my grandmother on my father's side. She passed away when he was 17, so I've never met this woman.
Dang.
Never seen a picture of her. Don't know what she looks like. And at 5 years old, I'm sitting in the bedroom just talking to somebody. And my parents come in, and they're like, who are you talking to? I was like, oh, Grandma. My mom's mom lived a block down the road from us in New York. They're like, no, she's at her apartment. I said, no, my other grandma. So my dad took out 2 pictures, one of his mom, one of my mom's mom, and he said, who are you talking to? And I said, oh, this one. And I said her name.
Damn.
At 5 years old.
Right.
So
and you had never probably really been told her name?
Knew
If
nothing
anything,
about her.
it would have been Grandma.
Yeah.
And that's it?
Nothing about her.
Wow.
Yeah, so for me, my mom scared me a lot with that gift that I had. Like, I used to see my pets that had passed. I was one of those creepy kids that was like, I would tell my mom something, she'd be like, don't say that. You're weirding me out. So as I got older, I just kind of like shut it away. And I used to have prophetic dreams. I would meet people up to 2 weeks before I would meet them in person, wearing the exact outfit that they were meeting. And I would kind of get their name. Like, this one kid, his name was Jason, and I think in my dream his name was Jordan.
Yeah.
So, you know, shit like that. But now that I've gotten older and I understand what the practice is and how to protect myself, I'm trying to overcome that fear. Because a lot of it was from my mom telling me that, you know, that's evil, you shouldn't do that because Catholic.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So mirrors have actually really freaked me out, and that's because mirrors are essentially a portal, if you will.
Sure.
So you can scry in mirrors and see into the other side and all that stuff, but things can also come through if you don't seal them and protect them properly. So that's been my next step right now, is really embracing this mediumship that I have and trying to do it the right way, which is very, very scary.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
On the subject of mirrors, because I was going to ask you if there are any superstitions that exist in common, you know, folklore or whatever you want to say that you just see as complete bullshit or not. As far as mirrors specifically, since you brought that up, if you own a mirror and it breaks, how quickly is it out of your house?
So honestly, it depends on how it broke.
Okay.
Right? Mundane before the magical. Right? If it falls because of a logical reason and it breaks, sure, whatever.
You slam the door, the mirror falls off the wall, breaks.
All right,
there.
we gotta get rid of the
You're
mirror.
sitting in the room and the cat knocks it over. Is that mundane?
Mundane, but mundane
But if you're
before
sitting in the room and the
and it
mirror
just shatters.
get it the fuck out of there.
Cleansing the
I
house,
think
put
I'm
everything in a
leaving,
box.
honestly.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
I
the
know
fuck out of
a
there.
lot of people that have like if you have a mirror, like if you were to go into somebody's bathroom and they have like a medicine cabinet and they've got, you know, the ones that slide, and there's a crack in the corner, which is always where it usually cracks the first, and it's a broken mirror, they would be like, oh, I don't want to deal with this mirror, I don't want to be in this room, you know, blah blah blah. Like things with spirits being able to come through or whatever, or being trapped in the little piece of glass, like something, you know, that stuff. I'm kind of always like, I don't know, man. It's a broken mirror.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a thing that gets. It's like a Ouija board to me. It's like it's Parker Brothers makes it. Like, I don't think it's a fucking like.
Do you know how many mirrors I just smashed to bits doing junk removal jobs?
Oh yeah.
Just like for fun, be like, people are worried about this. Like fucking smash it with a hammer. Be like, fuck that. Maybe
Well,
that's
there's
where my life is
supposedly
shit.
a difference between, what is it, silverbacked mirrors and there's 2 different kinds of ways that they make mirrors, and the one way is actually
Silverback and tinfoiled back.
yeah, essentially.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think it's silverback mirrors are the ones that are actually
Aluminium
powerful.
or something like that.
They're made
that
out
can
of
actually
gorillas.
do- Yes.
Uh-huh.
If you get it angry, it'll yeet you across the
Oh, Jesus.
100%. Terrible mirrors. Those
Do not
mirrors.
fuck with your mirrors. Do not fuck with your mirror.
But are there any superstitions that you know people have that might be a popular superstition? Kind of like wrap this all up. Is there anything that you look at and you just go, "Come on, people, like get over that"? Or
Like the salt.
Yeah, the
over
salt.
The
Like-
salt. So again, the salt comes from legit like witchcraft ideas of protection, because that's what salt is for. Salt is for protection.
so spilling the salt is wasting the salt. You don't want to waste the salt because it could be used for
Salt is
protection.
I
So
don't-
now waste
flavor.
more of it by throwing
throw
it
it
over your shoulder.
Yeah, no, it's actually something about keeping evil spirits out or
Okay.
something like that. Again,
You don't want that devil on your back.
Yeah, they would
Don't
do
want
that in
that devil in you.
Supernatural. They'd block off areas with salt.
Yeah.
so iron is the Fae. Iron protects you from the Fae or the fair folk, if I'm correct. So if you see people, huh?
The Hildiford.
Which people say will only. So again, this is another thing that people argue with, like that the Fae only exists in Celtic Nordic lands, but the Fae, the way that I understand them is that they can travel in the unused space or in different like.
To the layman, that is fairies, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Fairies, the Fae.
Thank you.
So,
It's that Amazon show with Orlando Bloom,
they're
right?
They're not like the Tinkerbell kind of fairies.
What's her face?
Yeah. Deval, Delaval,
Delavine.
Delavine.
Cara
There you
Delevingne.
go. Oh, gorgeous.
So yeah, there are some things like that are rooted in truth, but I would say probably the superstitions that I would dispel is anything that you hear about a lot of mainstream stuff. So again, I will bring it back to the tarot.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to have somebody buy your first deck. It's not going to ruin the power. It's not going to mess up your relationship with them. If you feel that way about it, then yes, you should do it that way.
Yeah.
But that's not...
If you're personally convicted to do something a certain way, always is kind of like the end-all, be-all rule for you guys.
Your intuition knows it.
Go with your gut.
Yep.
You know you. It's kind of like knowing your body, knowing your soul, knowing your mind. And through anything that you're practicing, the whole idea is to come at some point to a peace with yourself, with existence, and with the world around you. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Summed up, actually.
Yeah, that is beautifully summed up. So we actually we do talk
I
about
talk
that.
until it makes sense.
We actually talk about that on the show, how doing this type of work will help you find out so much about yourself, and it'll just change your life, because in order to make magic work, you have to believe in things a certain way, and you have to be able to have focus, because it's all about manipulating that specific energy, right? So if you're all scatterbrained, if you're depressed as shit, and you aren't focused correctly, then what you're trying to do isn't going to manifest, or your spell isn't going to work out right. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to do before you actually start casting if you want to have a good experience. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people that says, like, you read a witch book, don't practice magic until you've been reading for 6 years.
Right.
Because truthfully, sometimes I feel like some people need to fall on their ass. It is what it is.
It's a great way to learn.
And you know what?
Why do we fall, Master Wayne? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up. For the first time in the show, I did Michael Caine. The theme song makes sense now. There we go.
So yeah, I mean, I would just say be careful if you're going to try something dangerous. Like, if you've read a book once, I wouldn't try
Yeah, like, don't go down to the crossroads and try to sell your soul, like, step one. Yeah, don't do any of that shit.
But I mean, if you want to cast a spell and then, shit goes south, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
And
that might even inspire you to take it more seriously if you see a negative reinforcement's a fucking thing, man.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. So it will teach you a lot about yourself, and it'll help you grow as a person and find out more about you, because it doesn't work unless you believe in it.
Right.
So you need to figure out what it is that you believe in.
Awesome.
Makes sense.
Well, I want to say, to wrap this all up, thank you so much for being here. We could probably talk to you for another, 3 hours about everything, because I'm thoroughly enjoying your show. I've been listening to, I might be like a week or two behind, but I've been listening to it, and my big critiques on podcasts are usually like, I need to be able to listen to the person's voice. You have a very soothing voice. You approach everything very soundly. And one of our friends' shows, But What Do We Know? They do a lot of the true crime and the paranormal and stuff like that. And I love their show because they talk a lot about themselves and their personal lives and everything that's going on. And that is one way to do a show. But you really just kind of just open up and just get right down to it. And it is stock full of information. So if you're one of those douchebags that complains about But What Do We Know talking too much, this might be the show for you to expand your horizons a little bit. And if you want to hear more about Jackie, just re-listen to this show a couple of times. Can you just let everybody know where they can find your show, when it comes out, everything along those lines?
So the show, we release episodes every Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and then the show can be found on pretty much any major podcast.
Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, all that shit.
Deezer.
Teetzer. I don't think we're on. Oh,
yeah.
Deezer. Are we?
Deezer.
Oh, we're on Deezer.
Teetzer.
I was like, Teetzer.
Teetzer coming out tonight, boys!
Teetzer.
Google Podcasts.
Fuck yeah.
there's a couple more that I have more for in
and it's Our Paths. OUR Paths. Podcast. Awesome. I did want to say I was looking at your page and I realized your shirts say OPP.
Yeah, they do.
OPP, yeah, you know me. Better be on the back of a shirt at some point.
Well, I don't know if legally I can.
Yeah, I don't know
if
you can say
well,
yes.
No, that's
period.
the whole
You
point
know
of
me.
this song.
Yeah.
Are you down with other people's property?
Yeah, OPP.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, it would be the best thing I think you could do.
I don't even. They wouldn't even be mad. They'd be like,
wouldn't.
yeah, well, that's the song's about.
Yeah, that's basically what we were doing there. All right, Jackie, thank you again so much for being here. So excited just to see you and Nick. To see.
Fuck you, Nick.
But yeah, I'm really stoked that you guys actually got to be here in person to do this. It always makes it a little bit more enjoyable for us. Again, go check out Saprophyte In Bloom, our Swedish female-fronted death metal, all-around thrash metal, whatever you want to call it. Just awesome, epic, brutal, fun music. Go check them out. Again, on Spotify, anywhere you can find music, on Instagram, at Saprophyte_in_bloom. As always, go check out, we already said their name, but What Do We Know?
Yep.
You go check out their podcast dropping. I think they drop every Wednesday. And then the Moot Monday drops. You can get our show, Let Me Ask You a Question, and the Derek D. Dozen, all coming out on Mondays.
Yep.
They keep hinting that they might be bringing White Wasabi back, so we're going to have to see about that. Maybe it's going to be coming back. They do an anime show where they recap some old anime. I don't listen to it because I don't understand it. I listen to a couple of them, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going to hit play so you get a view.
The Pokemons.
The Pokebands are doing jumping ups and downs, and the background's going like this. I don't get what's going on. And soon...
Why were you just Forrest Gump explaining anime?
You really did.
Because that's how I feel when I try to talk about anime, computers, or engines in any way. And then sometime in the next 2 weeks, I believe, the episode of Not Movies that Zach and I were a guest on will be dropping. So check that out. A bunch of wild, weird stuff. 2 episodes of that actually going to be coming out over the next month. As always, a huge thank you to Mr. Justin Olampado for getting everything here put together and out to the public. Yeah. And a big thank you to Mr. Zachary Storman. Soup.
No one will get it.
No one knows why soup is such a funny word today. All right, guys. We had our own show for ourselves upstairs. Supic the Hedgehog, maybe. It might be my new name. Soup's great. You guys just don't know about soup. Soup spray. All right, guys. Well, for Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up, brought to you by Moot.tv and Houseboat, I am Kyle Mocha. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week, where I think I wrote down our band for next week. Did I write it?
Is it my birthday?
Oh, we've got Frank Mighty's Hotline from Toronto as our featured band for next week. Really excited about that. Really weird group. So Frank Mighty's Hotline and maybe a special guest. I'm not quite sure yet about next week. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. And as always,
fuck you.
Yeah, fuck the fans and Jeff Buckley.
Jeff Buckley, baby.
Moot.tv.
Sure does love you, boy. There's nothing more egomaniacal than singing the theme music for your own show. Who am I? Kelsey Grammer. If I could only drink like him, we're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be solid, some will be weak. We're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be solid, some will be total experimental.